What is degeneracy in quantum mechanics? I looked at my textbook, but I honestly couldn't understand it at all. Can someone explain what degeneracy actually is in a simple way?
Okay, leave it to me. I'll explain degeneracy following this outline. Let's get started. First, let's start with a simple analogy to get an image of what degeneracy means. Imagine a pair of boy-girl twins who look incredibly alike, and you want to tell them apart. However, they are both equally energetic, and just by looking at them from the outside, you have no way to distinguish who is who. In this situation, you say they are degenerate. Now, suppose you want to distinguish them somehow, so you show them a robot. What happens next? One of them got even more excited, while the other lost interest and became disappointed. Why? Because generally speaking, boys around the world tend to like robots, while girls usually don't. Thanks to that, you can now clearly tell them apart. This state, where the distinction is possible, is called lifting the degeneracy. In the context of Zeeman splitting, the robot in this analogy corresponds to the magnetic field. This is the analogy for degeneracy. Now, let's translate this idea into the context of quantum mechanics. In the quantum world, there is a rule called the Pauli exclusion principle. To put it simply, this rule says that a single atomic orbital can hold at most 2 electrons. And if there are 2, one must have an spin up and the other a spin down. For reference, for example, the electronic configuration of carbon looks like this figure. Notice that every atomic orbital satisfies the Pauli exclusion principle. Now, let's suppose there are 2 electrons in a certain atomic orbital. However, just by looking from the outside, you can't tell which electron is spin up and which is spin down. That's because they both have the same energy. When 2 or more different states share the same energy, we say they are degenerate. Next, suppose we try to distinguish the 2 electrons by applying a magnetic field. What happens then? The spin that aligns with the magnetic field shifts to a lower energy, while the spin pointing opposite to the field shifts to a higher energy. In this way, states that were originally at the same energy level split into different levels. This phenomenon is called lifting the degeneracy. More specifically, when the degeneracy is lifted by a magnetic field, it is called Zeeman splitting. As a side note, after the splitting, the lower energy state is called the ground state, and the higher energy one is called the excited state. Also, the size of the energy splitting basically depends on the strength of the applied magnetic field. That concludes the explanation of degeneracy. Here's the summary of this video. Today, I explained degeneracy, lifting of degeneracy, and Zeeman splitting. I hope this video helps you understand the topic a little better. If you have any questions about this topic, feel free to leave a comment. Thank you for watching.